Welcome, everyone. We are back in the wonderful world of when madmen lead the blind. We have our delightful denizens of the dark about to engage in the usual colorful chicanery that they seem to get up to in every single episode. Today is April 10th, 2021. They have just come back from sunny and exotic St. Louis, Missouri, where they have stolen a bunch of files from a burnt out super fun site and have a collection of human bones on their person. They are on Paco's private jet and they are about to land back in O'Hare in the subsection that's for private departures. They land in the city, and as they are emerging from the jet, they see somehow, um, and I imagine you can go ahead and make the introduction yourself, and Brosie is already there waiting for them. You just mouth off. So, where do we want to go to discuss the very strange things that were discovered in the prior session? Makes sense? Right, you make your way back to Victor's place with very little commotion. You arrive, and the ghouls are playing Castlevania. They immediately turn it off and act like they weren't doing that. You enter into the foyer, and the ghouls scutter off, and you plop down on the plump couches and the austere modern couture and take it away. Who wants to bring our dear friend Ambrosi up to snuff as to what was discovered in St. Louis? You you could have, yeah, you could have done that, but he also he yeah, he's also a quasi psyker, so he can actually get a reading of things that have occurred without his presence. Yeah. Okay, do we want me to make the summary and we pretend that it's you, everyone telling Ambrosi, or do we want to summarize it in character to Ambrosi? good. That's a good line. Yeah, go ahead and give me your aspects. Give me your rouse check and everything else. Ooh, I think that's the first time you've. Oh, you get to re-roll those zeros. Go ahead. Ah, there you go. I like it. You can't remember what's up. All right, go ahead and roll that aspects, Ambrosi. Yeah, that's an intelligence roll if I remember, but I can double check for you. What'd you get here? Three? You place your hands on the bones. What exactly are you trying to intuit with the bones? You place your hands on the bones, and you're taken back momentarily to that night, somewhat. You get mental impressions of sweat rolling down someone's back, adrenaline pumping through their veins, muscles tensing, muscles quaking, and you get one overarching mental impression that permeates through the mist and is the closest thing that you can determine to being firm. Steel. They were there to take something. You never reached a conclusion, but you determined that the reason everything around it was quiet was something unnatural. It depends. Um, you can take you can take the debuff that makes you pretty antiquated, but I don't think any of you took that one. So it would. Okay, that's good. Hey, Francois is the reason Silk Road exists. Actually, yeah, probably. Um, quick thing. Francois, do you remember that you picked a particular Superfund site? Yeah, and go ahead and supply that to Mercurio, and Mercurio, that is what you are going to deduce. Now, while we wait for that to come in, what else would we like to accomplish? How do we want to get the bones further analyzed? If this turns out to be an elaborate vampiric rickroll, I'm going to be pretty annoyed. It's a, it's a pretty good song. All right, who wants to read off what the kind? Yeah, who wants to read off what the kind think of the situation? All right, are you going to do something to determine where the doctor is and what is going on with the doctor? Mm-hmm. All right, you're going to, I suppose, do a little searching around. I guess you call Victor. Victor tells you that streetwise. Okay, let's see what we got here. He's a doctor. He has a pretty defined schedule. You make a few phone calls around, and he's yet again working the night shift, but he is down in the emergency room, which is a bit odd. All right, let's bring it back. What do we want to go over to the hospital and see what we can get the doctor to do? Okay, what are you gonna? It's a bit obscure. Now, what car are we taking, and what are we taking to the hospital? Because I imagine a giant bag of human remains is a terrible fucking idea. Yeah. Yeah, what? What do you want, Ambrosi? You should go ask the prince, and the prince will likely know someone to recommend. All right, go ahead and dial your phone. Beep boop beep boop beep boop beep. Hello, Hel- hello, Ambrosi. How could I help you? Hmm. I don't think we have anyone terribly experienced in that regard, but hmm. Go down to the University of Chicago, and ask for Professor Critias. You should see him. He's a rather stout, Greek-looking man, about 5 feet tall. He looks kind of like Santa Claus, except a little less jolly. He's a pleasant enough fellow. Just say that I asked him to cash in that favor, and he should be able to help you. You're more than welcome, Ambrosi. Oh, nice. It's a flip phone. In 2021, you got a flip phone? Reject modernity. Reject modernity. Embrace tradition. Okay, so you go off to the hospital, and in this one, instead of going through the emergency entrance because it's backed up with ambulances, you park a few blocks away and walk up to the front, and you notice something that you haven't noticed before because you generally don't go down to the hospital. There is a small memorial in front of the hospital. It refers to the Ebola pandemic from about 10 years ago, and it details all the people that died in the hospital from the Ebola pandemic before it was clamped down. Yes, it took them longer to clamp it down. West African authorities didn't get enough funding or assistance from exterior governments in order to kind of like clamp down on spread. And so it actually popped up in areas with large international airports and actually caused a bit of a problem. Uh, a little bit almost. That's yeah, it's getting close. Yeah, I know it's terrifying. Don't remind me about time. So yeah, here one quick thing. What was that, Francois? Oh yeah, that was a throwback. All right, so go ahead, Paco, Francois, Ambrosi. You all have sidekicks canonically. Like, all right, that's a good one. That's a good one. So as you look at it, there's about 127 names etched onto the front of this memorial. You walk through the front of the hospital, make your way into the emergency area, and ask for her. And if anyone can remember what the doctor's name is, I will give you one extra XP. You have 5 seconds. Five, four, four, three, two. It's Rama Shyamalan. It's Rama Shyamalan. Okay, so you, what was that? Yeah. God damn it. Okay, guess he is now. Okay then. So you ask for him, and he shows up, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here." I think I've helped you enough. Tomorrow's my disciplinary hearing. They're gonna take away my license. How am I supposed to help you if they take away my license? Rama Shyamalan. Hmm. Sure. Yes, you can DP the doctor. Wait, let me go look up presents really quick here. Okay, what level are you? Alright, what level do you want to cast it at? Higher level, it requires rouse checks. Okay, then, so level 2, you have the only option is lingering kiss. You're gonna have to kiss him. 3 is dread gaze, where you make him terrified of you. And then there's entrancement. Oh, okay, there, that works. Okay, so you can go ahead and do one rouse check, and if you fail, you can just do it again because you're an Ancillate. You can roll the rouse again. Oh wow! Our first actual failure. Okay, let me see what happens when a rouse check fails, because this actually hasn't happened yet. Here, I'm gonna pause the thing really quick. All right, I've turned back the recording. Now, Francois, you can successfully do your ability. Now, Paco, you may also cast Dominate as well. Just roll your rouse twice, and just add 1 hunger to your hunger meter. Oh, here. Do you have your Dominate and everything set up on Paco's sheet? Oh, okay. Your Dominate's fine. You click, see there's a button that says Rouse. Just click that twice. Alright, you passed. Alright, so you do not take Hunger, and you're going to be doing Dominate level 2. Alright, let me just double check what the hell you can do with that. Okay. You both successfully passed, so you're going to be able to do Mesmerize, and I forgot what the third level presence thing is, but um, Francois, yeah, Dreadgate. No, it's the other one. There's one that's negative, one that's positive. You're doing the positive one. Yeah, entrancement. So, Francois, open the scene with how you entrance, and Paco, you seal the deal. Okay, go ahead. All right. I feel calmer. Now, what is it that you need from me? You're like in the ER's main room. It's a little hectic right now, so it's a little weird. Everyone kind of looks at you getting close to the doctor, but and you're all well dressed and don't look that weird. So you think, oh, probably just some fucking weirdos. You're you're in the middle of the ER surrounded by cameras. Terrible idea. Wait, Ambrosi, did you not go along with them? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to split the party because then like honestly it makes scenes less impactful because I have to like go between either or. Yeah, it's fine. He was just clarifying. We can move forward. So everyone's fine with kind of going to the little patient room and everything. I imagine it's not a bag. I imagine someone just like took the smallest bone they could and just slid it into their pocket or something, I guess. He gives them a quick once over and everything because these are quite old. I think the only way we'd be able to get any info out of this is seeing if the bone marrow is intact enough to get DNA from. Um, hmm. I'll be right back. And he, eeny meeny miny mo, catch a tiger by the toe. Okay, he grabs Francois's boner and he skulks. Yeah, he's very impressed by the size of your bone. Um, he grabs the bone. He skulks off down the hallway, and you all of a sudden hear a gasp and a large commotion, and the doctor comes running out. A security guard comes down the hallway and asks the doctor what's going on, and the doctor starts explaining, "Oh, I was taking a sample and the blood got on me. Can you take me over to the cleaning station so I can get sanitized, or whatever?" And the security guard escorts the doctor over to a little sanitary area, and then they start taking his blood to check for pathogens or anything. And they start asking, "Huh?" Wade's. So he turns around, slices you all in half. So they start doing some tests and running things on him, and you see some of the nurses head over to where the doctor was to kind of clean up and see what was going on. What would you all like to do in the present scene? There shouldn't have. No. An excellent conclusion to reach. As no, it just looked like there's a strange red stain on the front of his shirt. Aside from that, he seems to be exasperated and Yeah, you're not close enough to get a good sniff, but if you were close enough, you would be able to make that determination. Who wants to go check on the good doctor? Yes, go taste the weird blood. It's an excellent idea. You trash people. All right. Okay. Yeah, I think it's like metaphorically tasting it or something. Hold on a second, let me. Do it! Do it, coward! You've done this before, but not on this blood. Okay, so you're gonna put your lips on the doctor's lab coat and suck the blood out of it in order to determine what it is? Okay. You, if you would like, you notice that there are nurses in there that are kind of bumbling around, cleaning up and doing a little inventory before they leave. Go ahead and roll a stealth check to see if you can glide in there as they leave in order to work freely. All right, go ahead. You slide into the room and shut it swiftly behind you as the nurses leave. And as you look in the room, you see the syringe on the ground, broken. You see a where he placed the syringe into the bone, or what have you. Or I think they use like a drill for this. I can't remember. And you notice that you can kind of see from here, the light is so bright, that there's seemingly no marrow inside the bone. And there are no stains around you at all. Give me a perception check. Oh, here, let me double. Oh, I think that actually might be awareness and thinking. Yeah, awareness is what you want here. Yeah, whatever you think is appropriate. No, just him. Wow, holy shit. Okay, uh, it's fine. This is actually pretty brief, and then um, now everyone, you see Paco enter the room stealthily. Do you want to cover him while he investigates on the interior? Okay, how quickly, gang? How are we gonna cover for Paco while he's inside there? Blood on the floor. Where? Uh huh. Uh huh. Okay, so I guess you kind of keep them distracted talking about that. All right, good. All right, Paco. While you were in there, you hone your senses, and you hear a very faint noise from somewhere in the room, and you hone in closer, and it sounds sickening, like the sound of a slug moving across a shiny surface. You focus deeper, you move some jars of cotton swabs, and then right there behind it is the bone marrow. It moves and it turns towards you and it lunges at you. What do you want to do, buddy? Yeah, it's not. You immediately know this isn't a threat, but this is Weird. I don't want to know what else it can do. Okay, you're inside a diagnostic room, so it has anything that would reasonably be inside there. And with okay, and with your oh, you moved a jar of cotton swabs that was and it was right there, so you can easily grab that. So go ahead and give me. I think that awareness. Here, let me double check here. I don't think awareness would be relevant because you quite literally moved the jar in front of it. You can do dexterity and let me see here. This is actually kind of hard. Um, Subterfuge maybe? Try to trick it into the jar? I don't know. This is kind of hard. Yeah, awareness dex is the only thing that's reasonable. Holy shit! Yeah, you stick the bastard in the jar. All right. You do reach the conclusion, however, that this object is very suspicious. So you're going to need to put it in something, and conveniently, there is a small biohazard bag that is, that gross orange color they put stuff in. It's that. So it's not clear. So you put the jar in there and tote the bag out. Uh, Not bad. Okay. Give me another awareness wits check. I just forgot if you do another five. You look out quickly into the hallway, see your compatriots are talking to the guards about the incident, and you see a nurse getting up and coming around the corner with some materials. Looks like she's about to come in here. You make the pro gamer move to duck out of here before she gets here. You sneak out and you come up to your compatriots, and I imagine you tell them, "Let's leave," right? How do we respond? So, how are we responding to this chicanery? Are we going to follow Paco's lead here? Francois, Ambrosi, Mercurio? Give me. Love it. You go outside and enter into your large, beat up, Top Gear esque limo, which I imagine is what you took here. And you are all seated there comfortably. And after a few minutes, you see Ambrosi being escorted out. And you can hear the guards say, "Listen, buddy, the insane asylum is down the street, alright? Don't come around here again." Stains. There was no fucking stain. As the guy just shakes his head and leaves. And I imagine that Ambrosi then skulks up to the car. Everyone gets in, and Paco is sitting there with a large bag labeled bio waste. It's the ghouls. It's always the ghouls. I don't think any of you ever. I don't even think any of you ever want to drive. Yeah, thanks for the cannon, the new cannon. All right, so what do we want to do here with this new information? How are you going to introduce everyone to your new friend, Paco? You can see the creature has now. Oh, Paco, have you kept it in the bag or have you removed it from the bag to show everyone? I know, but like you didn't take it out of the jar. What I'm saying is you took the jar out of the bag so people can actually look at it. Okay. It's it starts to kind of flatten its body and surround the entirety of the lid, and you can see that it's attempting to break it, but it's too weak to exert sufficient pressure. It's pretty strong medical grade glass, and you can see that it eventually realizes that it can't, and then reverts back to its normal kind of wormy, bone marrowy shape, and seems to coil in on itself and wait. Oh, this is actually a very appropriate time for an occult check. And after this check, we will take a brief break. Yeah, this is completely out of your element. You have no fucking clue what the hell is going on with this. All right, let's say. All right, welcome, and we are back. Paco is in the car with a living sample of human bone marrow, which is pretty terrifying. What would you like? What do we want to do with this particular change in circumstances here, Dark Denizens? Well, you do have a meeting with the prince, so I imagine the prince might know somebody who might know something about this horrifying nonsense. Technically they are. Yeah. I have just straight up just pushed Victor to the side because I don't want to have to play his character the entire time. He's off. Hmm. He actually doesn't have any points in a cult. If he had points in a cult or something, his streetwise is pretty high though. So yeah, I guess you can give him a call and ask. So who's gonna call him? Hello, hello, Francois. How can I help you? This is actually a very good ask. He tells you to stop by the house quickly, and he will give it an examination. We will do quick 20 minutes later. Okay, you're at his house. Um, and, all right, cool. All right, take care, Paco. I'll post up the thing and you can just see what else happens, alright? Alright, take care, Paco. Okay, you are there. You show the object to Victor, and he goes, "What the hell is that?" And he is going to, let me see his disciplines here. His disturbingly high protean. Hold on a second. How do I roll this? This will be intelligence. God damn it, Victor. How come every time I roll for him? All right. He looks at it and goes, "Well, this is nothing like what I'm used to doing. This is something else. I've heard whispers of other kinds of magics that don't come from the blood, but those are legends, and it's not something that I've seen in my lifetime. Have Mercurio, Ambrosi, Francois, have either of you ever heard of anything like this?" If you wish to recollect Francois, let me see what you have here. Uh, yeah, you could technically do a streetwise intelligence for this. Vampiric streetwise, I would allow that. Yeah, it's kind of. There's really no history technically. This would be more occult though, but eh. Oh, int- intelligence. I like this game because it doesn't have wisdom. Okay. Wow. Damn. Holy shit, Francois. Yeah. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Oh, and you got your blood dye that popped down there. Okay. The blood dye refers to how much it expends or something. I'll look it up later. It's not important right now. All right. As you examine it, you remember fighting in the war and bayoneting a man on the ground who had a broken leg. And this memory was distant to you. It was from your mortal life, and you don't recall it as fervently as you would other things. But seeing this moving object brought this back to the fray, and you remember stabbing this man with the broken leg. But before the blade could go, the man's marrow leapt out and seemed to brush aside your blade. Um, you squinted in your eyes for a moment, and yeah, that's really gross. You squinted your eyes, rubbed them back, and saw no trace of this offending attacker, and you simply stabbed the man in the chest to finish him off. And you haven't thought of that memory in some time. Go ahead and broadcast that to everyone else. Oh, it's a good call, Mercurio. If you would like, bring it up with Francois. It's the one that Francois wants to dig around in his noggin. Hey, buddy. Yep. How high up does your aspects go? Level level four. Okay. Yeah. Give me your rounds. All right, you're fine. You don't get hungrier. I think I'm kind of torn here. What's annoying is level four has Spirit's Touch, but it doesn't have a structural cognate for living creatures. Yeah, I'm gonna think that's okay. Go ahead and give me intelligence aspects, and then have it says intelligence with aspects. Oddly enough, see what we got here. Ah, three. That's not that bad. All right, and let me go over to Francois. Francois, can you do me an insight check? Let's see how much you open your mind. Mm, yeah, composure. Because I imagine it's you. On some semblance, your mind will resist this foreign intrusion. Oh, okay, good. I'm going to say that it works. Um, Ambrosi, you peer deep into the mind of Francois, and through the centuries, you pass by lingering remnants of memories that go by to this wayside, and then you find yourself out in the field in a grim morning during the Napoleonic campaign. You can feel the sweat rolling down your back and the stench of battle and the scent of gunpowder in the air, and there's a faint quiet. But you can hear a man yelling in English for his comrades to get him as you approach over the crest of the hill and look down into the embankment and see him with his legs shattered from a cannonball. And he looks at you, says French dog, as he starts attempting to load his rifle as he aims it for you. But you know that he's never going to be able to get fresh powder in there. It's too wet. You charge down, and you're about to thrust the bayonet into his chest, but Marrow emerges and swipes the bayonet away. You go back for another strike, and you see the man's eyes glow a faint blue, and he disappears. As you parse the memory deeper, you realize that what you are seeing is what Francois actually saw. His prior memory was something given to him by what you can only assume is some kind of wielder of magics. Interesting. You pull yourself out, and you may tell Francois the horror of what has occurred to his mind in centuries past. But do we want to make our way over to the prince and see if he can arrange a more direct contact with the professor, or do you want to go to the university director directly and attempt to hunt him down? All right, so off to the prince. All right, you arrive as usual. Vampire Freud. Wait, who's vampiric Freud? Okay, Freud's a vampire now. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, if you want. Okay, so we arrive at the Alabaster Citadel. You take the extremely long, quiet elevator up to Prince Jackson. You enter into his main foyer, and he greets you wholeheartedly. Ah! It seems that you have brought. Is the jar out in the open, by the way? Is it still in the bag? Alright. He gestures for you to sit in the large room. Now, what have you brought here for me today? I imagine that you would not be requesting an audience unless you had something a bit more brave to bring to my attention. He recoils. I was like, what is that? I've never seen a thing like that in my lifetime. I imagine you're here because you need someone with more lifetimes than all of us put together. Hmm. I know of one who is longer in age than all of us. He runs a rather expert gambit down at the university. He's been a professor there for 100 years. I don't know how he pulls it off. No one ever seems to look any deeper. His name is Critias. He is ancient beyond reckoning. I imagine in his lifetimes he may have seen something like this and be able to tell us if anything can be done or known about it further. Would you wish for me to arrange a meeting? Of course. One moment. Pulls out his phone, rings, rings, and you hear a kind of genial voice ever so faintly. Ah, yes, Professor. No, I'm quite fine with the books you sent me. I'm kind of shocked that you got your hands on those originals of Diogenes. I find his takes very refreshing, especially the part about rubbing one's belly. Now, we don't. Thank you. Now, now I have. Huh? Now you'll find out why he's making these comments. Now, Professor, I have a few vampires here that need your wise counsel. They have in their hands something extremely strange. It should, I believe, attract your interest. Would you have time this evening for a bit of a visit? You hear like some faint mumbling and what have you. It's like, yes, they're all men. And he goes, yes, of course. And he hangs up the phone. And he's like, he'd be delighted to meet you. He says he will meet you at his favorite college bar. He does tutoring, and the owner likes to have him upstairs, occasionally give private lessons or to entertain him. So you'll have a private quarter up there. And it's down near the university. So by all means, get your way there post haste. Is there anything else that you seek to bring to my attention while we are here? It's up to you. So there's no developments aside from this strange creature? I defer to your investigation. Now, you may take leave of me, and if you need me further, you may call me. Now, enjoy your opportunities with the professor, and don't mind the eccentricities. He's... God, let me think. How old is he? Here, one minute. Actually, I have to add up his age. He is stupid fucking old. Um, yeah, he's 2,449 years old. Yeah, he's the oldest vampire in Chicago by a factor of 20. Yeah, he is a bit longer in the tooth than all of us. On some level, I don't know why he's here, but he seems to really enjoy teaching. Get to him quickly. He's a patient man, but he gets irksome without male companionship. I think you'll find that is pretty obvious fairly fast. Oh my god, actually, yeah, you and him are going to get along great. Alright, you make your way down there to the bar, I imagine. you make your way down to the bar and you enter into the front. You kind of are ambling around. Before you left, Prince Jackson told you the guy's cover name, because Kritias is his actual name, and you should not use it. He tells you that his cover is... One minute, let me look up his cover name. It's a very obnoxious Greek name. Damn it. Hold on a second. It don't list his exact thing very easily sometimes. Professor Demetrius Kalambaris. That is his mask at the university. I will paste that name in there because it's Greek as fuck. It's extremely Greek. You go around, and Jackson gave you a description. About 5'1", rather paunchy, stout man with an excellent beard, balding, and the faintest semblance of a tan. He's about in his mid-50s. And as you look around, you see a man reading a book of literature. Actually, he's reading a philosophical text in the corner. He looks at you and beams brightly and gives a rather portly wave as his belly kind of rumbles and gestures as he stands up, readjusts his sweater to tuck back into his pants, and greets you firmly. It's like, "Oh, hello! It's a pleasure to see you. Please come. I told the prince had some things. Now come, let's go upstairs. I prefer a little bit of privacy." And as he kind of waddles up the staircase and goes about his business, you enter into a small back room. It's sparsely furnished. There is a large selection of books here. Kind of gives you a wink and says, "I do some favors for the owner, and he allows me to keep this study. Now, please, have a seat." And there's a variety of small, dumpy-looking chairs lying around. They're all covered in books. So before you can sit down, you have to move the books. How do you move them? Philosophical texts. None of them look... These look relatively recent. It seems he just got back from Barnes & Noble and he just bought an obscene amount of books. He looks at you and gives you kind of a nod, and it's like, it seems you've done your research. Now, Francois, how do you move the books? All right. You sit down, and he's like, please, introduce yourselves. A pleasure. And you? A pleasure. And you? A pleasure. Now, what brings you here? I believe the prince said that you had something that only one as seasoned as I may have some kind of insight into. Regale me. He reaches into a small drawer, takes out a notepad, looks at you intently with a faint sparkle in his eye, and says, "Proceed." If everyone else is fine with that, is that fine? Ambrosi? Yeah, okay. He goes, huh, interesting. Um, why did you not just simply climb the fence? Do you take out the jar, Ambrosi? You see him, his eyes widen, and he recoils back. But you can see the years pull him back forward as he stares at it intently. And that is what you found in the bones. Fascinating. Hmm. One moment. I have to check here. I have to look at his stats and do this roll manually. So, one moment. What are his attributes? Okay, yeah, he has intelligence 5. Of course he does, because he's fucking ridiculously smart. Oh, thank God. Hmm. Are you familiar with the tale of the oracles at Delphi? Hmm. Do you believe those prophets to be true? And do you, Ambrosi? That is wise. Bit of a solipsist here. I suppose we can dig into that later. How about you, Mercurio? Wise, wise. Well, they were liars. It was simply a bit of gas escaping from a vent that caused them to have hallucinations that occasionally synced up with reality. After an earthquake, it sealed away. There's a lot of tales like that back in the islands. I miss them. But amidst those tales, and those myths and those legends, was occasionally some truth. Now, I have not encountered a thing like this in quite some time. I can't pinpoint it exactly. It's outside of my present understanding, if you will. But I can tell you this. This is the work of a mage, a human. The kind bewitch their bone marrow, some of the more powerful ones, because they do not wish to be identified. Have you attempted to, let me see, do any scans of the bones or anything else? Hmm. That's about what I would expect from a thing like this. I'm shocked it didn't try to kill him or you or anyone else. The magic must have weakened. Do you know how old the bones are? Hmm. Yeah. a year or two, at most four-ish is what you got at maximum. Now, do you have any bones with you? Yes. That is true. Only one. I imagine you. All right. He's going to look at you, Ambrosi, and says, "Now I imagine that you are touched by the aspects, my dear." All right. Now bear with me. Let's both attempt this. Give me your rouse check. And one moment here, I have to adjust some of his stats. Okay, you're good. And I had to adjust Paco's sheet in order to roll for him, so I'm going to have to adjust your sheet to roll for him. So go ahead and give me your Auspex. Okay, and then I'm going to adjust your stats so that I can roll it for him. Okay, and I'm going to adjust your stats back to where they were. Okay. Wow, damn. The two of you together have pulled off 10 successes. You come together and you both get a very firm sense of date. The bones are about 32 years old, and that is factoring in the day they died. The person who had these bones was 28 when they died. You delve deeper into the mire of that night, and you find theft coming back. But now you can delve deeper into the emotional state, plying further and further and further. And you find something else. Previously it was just one, but now you have five. Five thieves in this area attempting to gain information. Now, unfortunately, you can't figure out what that is otherwise, but you can tell that what the werewolves were doing seemed to overlap on some way with whatever these mages were attempting to do. And you imagine that that's probably why they were there. It's probably not the same. I doubt mages care about Gaia, but whatever the werewolves were doing, the mages were dreadfully interested in and wanted to make sure that they stopped. And you come back into the fray, and Kritios is giving you a faint chuckle. I was like, huh, I take it you haven't gone that deep before, my dear? I think it is funny how you both have the same Auspex level, which is pretty amusing. Yeah, Auspex 4, Auspex 4. The way the game structures stuff doesn't make sense. The way the PCs are built does not make sense. All right. Is Yeah. You can technically start off richer than a prince, which is weird. All right. So, what else would we want to gather from this? He has told you that mages are involved. Would you want to ask any follow-up questions? Ask in character. I do not sense their touch or their presence anywhere here, but they are even more secretive than the kindred themselves. The fact that we are standing here looking upon their works and have not been assaulted by them is interesting. Whoever this mage was belonged to an order more secretive than the secretive. They do not want to be known. In some ways, that could be a weakness. They may not sense you coming. They probably think themselves as very clever. Was there anything else at the scene? Yes. All right. Hmm. And you only found one set of human bones. It's undoubtedly a mage. Only a mage would enchant their bone marrow in such a way to not be found. That's curious. Because what would be within his bone marrow? Hmm. No. Hmm. We would need samples of his blood, or I suppose the bone marrow. There may be remnants of those small things left within him, but it seems that his blood, or rather his marrow, seems to be a bit uncooperative. Calming it down is something that's beyond my expertise, but that bone marrow is going to give you more information than you would probably want, and I'd be careful who you ask. Keep this between myself and the prince. It's very dangerous to know about the mages. Ooh, if you unscrew that jar, it is going to be kooky. Okay, are you going to... You do, but you... Okay, you do, but you're reasonably intelligent to know that all the bone marrow is probably going to act in a similar manner where it is going to be alive. Oh, sure, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Sure. I guess we can round out the session kind of discussing what we want to do next time, and then we'll pick up in 2 weeks. How's that sound? All right, perfect. All right. Is there anything else that you want to ask Kritias before you retire to Victor's house that you are crashing in? None at all. Not at all. He is a dumpy 51-year-old, Greek guy. He looks exactly like you think he does. Actually, I can screen share and you can actually see. One second. Okay, can you see my screen? He's not ugly. I don't know. I can't. It's okay. All right, perfect. Is there anything else we want to run past the professor before we uh, go away? Go ahead, Mercurio. Go ahead, Mercurio. You're about to say something. Oh, okay. Ambrosi, anything? Hmm. They're a secretive lot. Um, there may be other vampires that traffic in areas that may know of it that I don't. I can do a little digging around for you. Come back in a day, and I will report to you what I can find. Does that sound fair? You're welcome. All right. I guess from there I'm going to close out the recording.